Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Sit Downs with Charlie Brown. I'm your host, Charlie Brown, as usual. Joining me today is my very special guest, Mr. Hayden Lee, is back on with us.
Good to be here, Charlie.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. I know I probably bugged you way more often than I should have with this.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
Not just bad at responding to DMs. That's all.
nah, yeah, no, it's fine, man. Man, but the reason I wanted to bring you back on is because the NFL season's in the books, and my God, the whole season was just a massive, massive, like, what is going on? It just seemed
Yeah.
like every week it was something new. Like I don't
Hmm.
really know. Like, here's the thing, is towards like the teams at the top, I kind of expected it. Like, here's the thing. I'll eat my crow on my Washington take I had. I thought they'd make the playoffs. Like, no. But honestly, like for them right now, I feel like that was probably the best for them just because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, clean house, you got the second overall pick, a new administration in town. It's probably just for the best for them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
For Washington, I feel like they blew it up and they traded kind of the wrong people. I want to say
Yeah.
Chase Young hasn't proven to be anything special, but
Yeah.
Montez Sweat losing him is like, what are you doing?
That was a weird one, but I can understand why they wanted to keep Jonathan Allen just because that's
Yeah.
a guy you can't lose a locker room guy like that. So
Yeah, and you
that,
can't find too many interior defensive linemen that do what he does.
yeah, like he's gonna depending on if they do trade him, like heck, the Vikings might get him at this point. Which man, dude, like this Viking season was just rough.
Yeah.
It's just, like here's the thing. I feel like the lesson I'm taking away from this is Kirk Cousins is the answer? Heck no. But it's clear right now that more than ever, like I think we still kind of need him at least for 2 more years,
Yeah.
just so that because I feel like that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna get someone in the draft. Like if it's first round or second round, no idea. So,
Yeah, it's something I come around to because I love Kirk myself. Like he's a
hmm,
great quarterback. You saw what he did like
yeah,
against the Niners, but then at the same time, the guy tore his Achilles and he's going
hmm,
to be coming back, rehabbing an Achilles. Who knows what he's going to ask for in free agency?
yeah,
And then with the draft, I mean, we sit at number 11, so we're kind of right in the middle of like, do we trade up or do
yeah.
we wait for a second round guy? So it's
That's
a
the
tough
thing.
situation to be in.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like they might, if I were them, this is what I do. I do what the Titans did last year, take a bigger need first, because I feel like, well, quarterback is sort of a big question right now. I feel like there's a bunch of other issues because, D line is primarily an issue because Hunter's a free agent.
Hmm.
The DT, like besides Harrison Phillips, there's nothing good there.
No.
I just feel realistically you need, and there's gonna, like I think the top three right now are Williams, May, and Daniels. Someone like
Yeah.
McCarthy, like Penix Jr., maybe even Nix. Like I wouldn't hate Nix, but like he's not my
Knicks,
first
yeah.
choice.
People have such a bias against Knicks. It's crazy,
Yeah.
but I don't think he would be that bad of a pro.
I
He
feel
might
like
not be the guy, but
the big issue with him is just his college career because like it feels like he's been in there forever because he did his
because he
stint at
has. Yeah.
Auburn, he did his stint in Oregon. It's like I forget where else he's been. Then it's just like he's been one of the guys who's just every year he hit the transfer portal and then went somewhere else. Like
Mhm.
Oregon was like the first place where he stayed like more than 2 years. So that's
Yeah.
the big thing with Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, if we were in the second round and Knicks was there, then that would be the
Yeah, I
pick.
wouldn't
I
hate
would
it
be
because I
completely
feel
fine
like
with that.
I
Because
wouldn't hate it.
especially, yeah, I mean, especially where we stand, like three guys I have in mind are people that I would like be okay
Hmm.
with. Is Dallas Turner if he falls? I don't
Yeah.
know if he will, but he's a good edge. He can just replace Daniil whether we
Hmm.
take we re-sign him or not. We need someone there.
Yeah.
We haven't taken an edge in the first round in like almost 2 decades. Like
Hmm.
and then Jared Verse from Florida State.
Verse, I really Verse is my guy. He's
Yeah.
definitely someone
First
I
two
think.
out, I think he'd be there at our pick. And same with Byron Murphy, the second out of
Yeah.
Texas, which would be also kind of funny to have two Byron Murphy
Yeah.
Jr.
Byron Murphy
You
one and
know?
Byron Murphy two.
Yeah, exactly.
That.
So I don't know
Yeah.
that. I mean, he's a good player. Like he
Yeah.
can literally
Because.
like win on his knees. That's
Hmm.
some of the crazy things. Is he's like
Yeah.
like pancaking people from the ground.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what I think it is. Because, like, I think, like, realistically, that's what they should be doing and what they
Mhm.
probably will. Just because, it's a, like we said it last year, it's a deep quarterback class. I feel like realistically, this is probably a better one as well, just because, like Penix, people have concerns about his injuries. McCarthy, it's more or less just can he throw more than 20 passes a
Yeah,
game. And then
right,
Knicks is just the age issue. So I feel like out of those three, those are like my top picks as like someone we can sit behind Kirk to develop properly.
right.
Because people were saying a lot about Jaron Hall. Like the issue is with Hall, he's a fifth round rookie. Like,
Yeah.
and looking at it now, it's clear that Puka Nakua was a big part of why he was successful in college. So I
Oh
think
yeah.
think realistically, like you couldn't expect much out of him. But yeah.
I don't have much to say about Jaron Hall.
Yeah,
Like
like he only played like three
it
real
is what it
games.
is.
So,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
don't know. You saw all the backup quarterbacks in the league play this year, and how many of them
yeah,
actually were pretty good. You know.
yeah. Because like, here's the thing: you and I were knocking it. I remember we were knocking, praying to God the Vikings wouldn't draft Will Levis. Little did we know he just turns out to be the next guy up in Tennessee. So,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Titans are trending in the right direction, but I
yeah,
don't know. Will Levis could be the guy.
I think he could be,
He showed some
especially.
flashes.
Yeah, like he's shown flashes, and I think now that you have an offensive-minded coach there, you're definitely going to see a lot of success. Which
Yeah.
personally, I was shocked they fired Vrabel because I didn't think it was realistically his fault that the team was
Uh,
bad, but I think it
uh,
was just more a roster issue. Because was it his fault they traded AJ Brown away for peanuts?
no.
That's the question.
You
No.
know, yeah, it shocked me too. I don't know why you would fire someone like Vrabel. Granted, I
Yeah.
don't know how he never got a job because he's still out
Yeah.
there, isn't he?
Yeah. He's still out in the market. Like I think
Which is
real
insane.
like here's the thing. I was talking about this with my cousin who's a big Buckeye fan. Like he was shocked by it as well. But I think realistically he might see what Ohio State does this year because that's a job he's always eyed is
Really.
being the head coach of the Buckeyes. Yeah.
Hey, that could fit him. I mean, Ryan Day isn't cutting
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
But
here's the thing, like, and I've spoken about this with because I have family out in Ohio and a lot of Buckeye fans out there. But
yeah,
I feel like this is the year where they go all in because you got a lot of their major pieces returning. You got literally the gold mine of transfers coming in. Like, if you can't
yep,
win this year, especially with Harbaugh out of the picture now, like,
yeah.
then you're screwed.
hmm
So,
I mean,
because
it'll be interesting to see with Georgia too, because
yeah,
Georgia's a powerhouse. They're looking like they're going to beat
yeah.
Alabama now.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, it really feels like this off season, it's been an end of the era in terms of coaching. Because
Yes, it
obviously,
has.
like, here's the thing, Belichick. I feel like halfway through the Patriots season, it was expected, just because it's like, it's been, it's just like the same formula isn't working, and I feel like it's time to really move on for them.
Yeah.
Saban's case because he retired from Alabama. I was
hmm
shocked by that because, like,
Yeah, I thought it was gonna.
I always felt like there was a piece of me that was like there was going to be a day where he was no longer the coach of Alabama. But it just came out of nowhere, especially
Right.
after they backed into the playoffs,
hmm
essentially.
Right.
But yeah, and also now Pete Carroll's out of Seattle. It's like the last remaining sort of coaches of the old era are John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh now, I guess, because he's back in the league.
Yeah.
League, Mike Tomlin and Andy Reid.
Yeah. Sean
Those.
Payton too,
Oh yeah, Peyton would
but
be in that category as well.
whatever.
So yeah,
Sean Payton.
no one cares about Sean Payton.
Right. Sean Payton. Ugh.
Yeah, I
But yeah, I
here.
know what you mean. It's an interesting time to be an NFL fan, especially for people our age.
Yeah,
Like you see all the dominoes have finally fallen. I mean, Tom
yeah.
Brady won last year. You get into this
hmm
year now, and it's really looking like it's Mahomes' time
Yeah,
and
it
it's
really.
Mahomes' era.
hmm It really does. But here's the thing. Like, I don't know, no, because like realistically, I think it could. There's gonna next year is gonna be a very big year because Mahomes is doing this with a lot less. Like think if there's a lot of other stacked teams that are going to be looking to prove themselves, particularly in the AFC. So
Yep. always, because you got the Bengals that are coming off of, like,
Yeah,
Joe Burrow
like
pissed.
Burr.
He's
Yeah,
pissed.
yeah. No, like here's the thing: the Bengals would be in the playoffs if Burrow wasn't hurt. That's the
Hmm.
issue. That was another
Yeah.
thing this year was injuries because, like, you know, it was just like every week there was a big injury. Like if the first domino was Aaron Rodgers' debut with the Jets, which I was like, oh my!
Yep.
I was sitting there watching that. I was like, because I was interested in his debut with the Jets
Oh
because
yeah,
like
yeah.
you
I wish
saw him run out with like the American flag. He literally looked like freaking Hulk Hogan going to fight the Iron Sheik, and it's like,
yeah.
oh, there goes his Achilles.
Yep, there you
So
go. No more
yeah,
Aaron.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
it really was a sign of things to come, because I think if you ask a lot of people that watch the
hmm
NFL this season, they'll say this is the worst season in years
yeah,
because of all the injuries. Like,
yeah. That because like the Vikings were on the end of it. Like there were a lot of teams that got the wrong end of it. Like the only team that
that's
I felt like had an excuse,
Jags.
like the only team I felt had a real excuse was the Cardinals, just because like they had Murray injured to begin the year, and
Yeah.
they surprisingly did all right. Like I
Yeah.
feel like here's the thing. I had them. I remember I said they'd be bad. I feel like they have the right pieces. They still need a little more though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, the Cardinals are in a situation where they got to build from the ground
mhm.
up. Luckily, they got a guy at quarterback. We
That's the
think
easy part.
we
So
think
yeah,
so. If they play their cards right in the draft, and they got Paris Johnson too last year,
yeah. I feel
so
like if I'm the Cardinals, like you're the three teams ahead of you all are looking at quarterbacks. So it's like essentially, what do you
maybe,
want?
maybe.
Yeah,
My friend is a
yeah,
big Patriots guy. He said they're looking at Marvin Harrison Jr.
yeah.
So,
Because Marvin Harrison Jr., I feel like if it weren't for a lot of these quarterbacks, I feel like there's an argument for him to be a top pick.
oh
Just
yeah,
because,
I think he could have gone number one in even last year's draft.
yeah, yeah. Like heck, even if the Bears decide to keep Fields, which I don't think they are keeping him, like
Yeah.
it would make a lot of sense for them to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. because
Hmm.
son of an NFL legend, he's broken records at Ohio State. It's clear that he's a guy who's like essentially like a Megatron, a Randy Moss,
Yep.
or Jerry Rice, who's an elite wideout who you can really just rely on all the time.
Yeah,
So
I am really excited to see how he tests at the NFL Combine, because
yeah.
already he's 6'4", and
Hmm.
I'm not sure on his weight, but a six
Yeah.
four receiver that catches what he does, has like the catch radius and the route
Hmm.
running. I want to see how he
Yeah.
tests, see how he jumps, see how he runs, because
Definitely.
not like it's going to matter, but for my sake, I just
Yeah.
want to see how good of an athlete this guy is and make up
Hmm.
scenarios in my own head.
Yeah. No, because like that's the thing. I feel like that if you want like Ohio State, like in terms of wide receiver, they've had some really great sort of gems. Chris Carter. Like they have. They have Terry McLaurin right now, Chris Olave, Curtis Samuel.
Garrett Wilson.
Jared Wilson. Like Wilson, like he his like he didn't have a good season. Here's the issue: he needs a quarterback. Like he's
Yeah,
talented because I
he's very
remember.
talented.
Yeah, that's the big thing with him. So yeah,
Him and Terry McLaurin, I hope I don't see them go down the same career path, because
yeah,
Terry McLaurin showed a lot of flash, but he hasn't
hmm
had a quarterback his whole career. So
yeah, no, because like you
we
look at
know
it,
he's got the talent, but
like ever since he entered in 2019, his quarterbacks have been Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke,
Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, that's a bummer one. So Taylor
Oh,
Heineke, Sam Howell, like he hasn't just had he had Fitzpatrick for a little bit, but he hasn't just he's like what DeAndre Hopkins had before he had Deshaun Watson in his career. He's
right.
just never a guy who's really elite. So
Yeah. I mean, he'll be getting someone this year.
mhm,
They don't take Drake May. I don't even know what to say.
yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like here's the thing. Like, it's interesting because the question I feel like for Washington is this: do you go Drake May or Jaden Daniels? Because I feel like Daniels, I've really
I,
seen, I think he could be definitely an interesting pick. So,
I don't think it's a contest. I
yeah.
think Drake May is a generational quarterback in his own right,
Hmm.
because, like, you could make the argument Drake May would go number one in every single year, going back
Yeah.
maybe 6 years, maybe since
Hmm.
Andrew Luck. Honestly,
Is your dog?
yeah, talk.
Nah,
Oh,
you're fine. You're fine, man.
Yeah, that's just scared me. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you're.
Drake May, I mean, you can see the mobility in him. You see the confidence and the
Mm-hmm.
accuracy, the arm strength. Like he's got everything you want. And you see that in Caleb Williams too. And I think even Drake
Yeah.
may go number one because of the doubts in Caleb Williams,
Yeah. I
the
feel
overexposure.
yeah, I feel like Williams is kind of. I feel like he doesn't want to go number one at this point, just because it just seems like it just really seems like he really wants to go to a situation where he's good. He knows he's going to be the starter and is going to be a better situation than Chicago. You
Yeah, I
know.
mean, I I did some snooping and I follow the Vikings fan page and
Yeah.
Jordan Addison posted his like little season recap
Yeah.
Instagram
No.
post, and
Like.
Caleb Williams said, "See you soon." So
Yeah.
in my
Like
mind,
here.
I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna
Yeah.
trade up. Caleb Williams is gonna refuse to play for all the teams ahead of
hmm
us."
Yeah,
And
no, no. Like, here's the thing. Like, even if he did get back, you do realize you could just pull an Eli Manning. Like, he was destined to play for the Chargers and was able to get out of it. So
Mhm.
you could just take a page out of that playbook. You don't need to do a lot of the stuff in the media, man.
You could, but that'll ruin your brand right off the bat. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
It's interesting because the Bears, I mean, like they could stick with Fields, but it
hmm
doesn't make much sense to, you know?
Yeah, I just feel like the new regime may just want to do a full scale purge just so that they can get their guy and they can get started on their version of the team, you know?
Right. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about
Yeah.
that because if you have this number one pick with Caleb Williams,
hmm
I think you'd let go of Eberflus.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I was talking to one of my friends who's a Bears fan. The only reason they're keeping him is because of his defense. They feel they feel like, down the stretch it was okay enough. Like it did have its moments, but I feel like it's a work in progress. So they feel that okay, how about we go heavy on getting an O coordinator, and that way in the draft they can have that guy build the offense. That's the only reason he stays.
Have
He's
they
staying,
gotten
right?
one? Have they gotten an OC yet? I haven't.
Um, I don't know specifically who it is. I do think they have one. I can't remember the name at the top of my head. So let me just take a quick peek.
Mike Tice? No way.
Wait, what? Did they seriously hire Mike Tice?
No, okay, never mind. I don't know why that popped up.
Oh wait,
Um,
no. Oh wait, that's the
Shane
defensive call.
Waldron.
Okay.
He was Seattle's um what was he? Oh, he was their offense coordinator. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean it's not bad. So
No.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I personally don't know much about him. I don't watch many
yeah.
Seahawks games.
No, I don't either.
I mean, he
Either.
led the resurgence of Geno. So,
hmm Yeah,
hey,
I will say this though. If if the Bears are seriously moving off fields, one place I could see for him, Atlanta.
yeah.
Just
I feel like that's
just
everybody's favorite. I feel like if you went on a betting site, it's minus 10,000.
yeah, just because, I feel like here's the thing. He, it's not just the fact that he's from the area. I feel like it's also the fact is he's a young quarterback back. He's still he still has a lot to learn. I feel like you put him in that offense, it could see a lot of good doing for the Falcons because
Yeah, exactly. And you got new people in there as well, and you got the
mhm.
weapons. I feel like it's a quarterback's dream.
Yeah, that I feel
Hey,
like,
boy.
yeah, that's like, I know people are saying they're going to get Kirk Cousins, but I feel like here's the thing. If they hired Bill Belichick, then I'd say yes. But
Yeah,
since they hired Morris, I don't think he goes there. I
no.
don't. So,
I think with like the lack of like good coaches or established
yeah.
coaches that got hired, Kirk would probably stay with us compared to Atlanta.
Yeah, just because
But,
he already knows he doesn't want to have to learn another new
right.
playbook essentially. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but the Falcons, I feel like, dude, I know you and Luke and Mo were saying I should be on the Falcons. Do you now see why I wasn't? Because they were aggravating this year.
Yeah, they
Use
were.
Bijan,
I
use
mean,
Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. Now
okay.
let's use Tyler Algier, Jonnu Smith, and Kadero Hodge.
Yeah, I know. And I knew Arthur Smith had his little fetish with
hmm
like the lesser players on the team, we'll
hmm
say.
Yeah,
But I didn't think it would be this bad. You know,
yeah.
The stat that blew my mind at the end of the year was that Tyler Algier had more rushing yards in his rookie season than Bijan did in his.
Yeah, and like Bijan, all three of those guys are talented. The problem is you got to give them actual opportunities. That's
Right.
the
And
issue.
Drake London started to get his opportunities. Drake London was balling towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So once they started giving Drake London them jump balls and
Mm-hmm.
deep downfield
Yeah.
shots, like he proved to be what
Yeah.
Drake London could be coming out of the draft. So I'm excited for Drake London. I know
Yeah.
Bijan will be fine. He still had
Yeah.
his highlight reel plays and the
Mm-hmm.
snap counts he had.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, though, I don't know. I'm nervous about Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. Pitts, I think like here's the thing, like it's just the fact is I don't think he's really just had I just feel like they have what his biggest strength I feel right now is he's a red zone
Yeah.
and the fact is they don't use him in the red zone.
Yep.
So that's the
It's
thing.
it's such a confusing career he's had to
Mm-hmm.
this point because his
Yeah.
rookie year you see him make all these catches. He didn't have many touchdowns, which
Mm-hmm.
what but he had like the downfield shots, he had the catches, he had the run
Mm-hmm.
after catch, like, and then he goes into a little slump where he doesn't get featured, and then there's this year obviously where you have some frustrations at the beginning of the year, but then he kind of starts to pick it up and then you bring it back, and
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, I don't want to blame it all on Kyle Pitts, but I feel like
Yeah.
part of it is just him not living up to what he was hyped up to be,
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
if you're as good as that, you should be able to make the best of those opportunities that you do get.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he's a bit of a disappointment after being taken number
Yeah.
four.
Like, yeah. That's just like, and that's like the thing with the draft sometimes. Like it's an inexact science, You know, there are some teams who think this is the surefire guy, and they turn out to be massive busts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Speaking of someone, what did you think about the Panthers?
Oh God, like, yeah, that's another one just because like I feel like the issue with them is David Tepper might be reaching Dan Snyder levels of ownership just because of the fact that
Very
you
quickly.
know it's clear that ownership meddling with the team is not a recipe for success. Like you look at a lot of the top teams, like Robert Kraft doesn't really never interfered during the Patriots
Mhm.
dynasty. The Hunt
Yeah.
family doesn't interfere when Andy Reid and those guys are trying to work. A lot the Wills don't interfere with like Kevin O'Connell
Yeah,
and
I've never
wasting
seen
the
the
year.
like I never see the Wilfs.
Yeah, they like I just feel like all you need to really do is just manage make sure like in case things are get regressing, then you make the changes. But
Hmm.
that's the thing, like that I feel like that was the issue. They made the aggressive move to get Bryce Young and lost DJ Moore
Yeah.
in the process. They they brought in all these guys, they brought in Frank Reich and his staff. It didn't work. And now you're out the first overall pick. So
Hmm.
yeah.
It, you know, I agree with you with all the David Tepper sentiments.
Hmm.
That guy sucks. Like you see him
Yeah.
throwing the drinks and stuff, and
It's like,
he
dude,
owns
what are
he
you
owns
doing?
like a multitude of teams, like a couple
Hmm.
soccer teams, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's NHL. I don't know. It's a sport I don't watch. But
Yeah.
he owns a couple teams that just suck, and he's fired like six coaches in the past 2 years.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
he sucks. But the team as a whole, well, it also sucks. But I feel like
Yeah.
there's a silver lining.
Yeah. Like here's the
Bryce
one.
Young can't get worse.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like I didn't judge Young harshly this year because it's like he doesn't have he doesn't have receivers. He doesn't have a run game. His O line's not blocking for him. Like no quarterback could survive in that situation. Like
Right.
people say, oh, they should have taken C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud had an actual good coach and development and pieces around him to actually thrive. Like Bryce doesn't have any of that. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, with that, I mean, it's easy to sit here and say, oh, they should have taken Stroud. Maybe they should have. And they were rumored to for a
yeah,
little bit, if you remember,
mm-hmm,
but I mean, with Bryce Young, you you don't have the upside of CJ Stroud to this point.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, small quarterback. He's
Hmm.
a play extender. He doesn't have the greatest arm. He has good accuracies. At least he did in college. So I feel
Yeah.
like if he can just be a player that like is a good playmaker, a good improviser, that would be the best that you can hope for at this point.
Essentially, what he needs to do is be like a lot, like look at a lot of Drew Brees stuff, what he did.
Mhm.
He never was a guy always trying to throw the hero ball to
Yeah.
play hero ball. He was just taking what he got.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think Bryce Young will be okay. I feel like that's
Yeah.
something that a lot of people won't tell you. I feel
Hmm.
like they just want to go hate on Bryce, but
Yeah.
I think if they can get someone in the second round, maybe they get a Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU,
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say definitely they're picking a receiver first, like one of the Texas guys, one of the Washington guys if they're still
AD
there.
Mitchell.
Yeah. Adonai Mitchell. Yeah.
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 I mean, there's a lot of talent in the receiver class. Lucky for
Yeah.
them. So
Hmm.
get that going. Their offensive line, they have Ike Ekwonu, who
Yeah.
rest this year, but a lot of that's due to scheming too. You change the
Hmm.
block schemes. You have a big mauler like Ekwonu.
Yeah, you have a run blocker trying to use him as a pass blocker.
Yeah,
That's
you're
the
just putting
issue.
him in zone schemes instead of playing to his
Hmm.
strengths.
Yeah,
It's just like I feel like the people just don't understand what the strengths are of these guys, and they're filtering
exactly.
in and out. So they need some continuity. They need some people that are going to
Yeah,
stay.
yeah.
Hopefully, oh geez, who did they even hire?
They hired the Bucks coordinator David Canales.
That's
Canales.
right.
So yeah, I don't
Okay.
think that's a. I feel like here's the thing. That's not a bad hire. I felt like you needed an offensive mind regardless, just because you need someone to help be sort of like a mentor and help coach Bryce.
Yeah.
They need
Hey.
they need someone to get into his ear, and
Mhm.
that's what I think was a good strategy.
That'll
So
work. That'll work. It's
yeah,
it's it's a face in there. Um,
yeah,
so it's
I
not
did.
probably
Yeah,
ideal for what the Panthers wanted. Maybe they wanted Ben Johnson, but
yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing: Ben said straight up he's not leaving Detroit, which I'm like, oh God,
yeah.
why can't we get rid of that guy? It's like his
Yeah.
he was frustrating this year
Mhm.
against the
Oh, for
Lions.
sure. Great offensive mind. But,
Yeah,
you know, if we're going to talk about the Lions, I mean, they're a good team. I mean,
yeah,
I can't say they're not because they made the NFC Championship game.
yeah.
But,
But
there's a lot of teams that make these runs and don't
mhm,
come back. And
yeah,
it's going to take a lot for them to come back from that.
prime example was Minnesota in 2018. They had the Minneapolis Miracle and they slingshotted themselves into the Philly game. They got smacked, and then pretty much they didn't recover. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And hats off to them. I'm glad that their fans got the win, but as a divisional rival, like
hmm,
I'm glad they lost.
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So,
So one final thing, because we're running a little low on time.
yeah,
I
yeah.
did want to get is your Super Bowl prediction, because for me,
Shit.
it's tough because I know I feel realistically like it's an interesting matchup, but I feel I give the edge to San Francisco only because I feel like when it comes to their offensive weapons, I feel like they vastly outnumber the Chiefs' weapons, even
Yeah,
with Mahomes kind
no
of pulling
question.
pulling rabbits out of his
No
to win
question. No
games.
question.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of last year's Super Bowl
Hmm.
because the Eagles are clearly the better team, and they were going up against Mahomes, who was undermanned, and I picked the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to pick the Chiefs,
Yeah. We don't want them
but
to ascend to Patriot insufferability. That's the issue with this.
I really don't want to pick the Chiefs. But if I had to bet on a team winning this Super Bowl, I would bet on the Chiefs because I
Yeah.
can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I love the Niners.
Hmm.
They definitely have the better team by far. And I think Brock Purdy is way overhated. I don't understand why people hate him.
It's because
You know,
I don't know why he gets hated. It's like he wasn't thrusted into this position. He just kind of showed up and started balling. It's
Yeah,
like,
like so I love the guy. My brother loves him. Shout out
yeah.
Brenny.
Hmm.
Um, but he I don't know. He made some plays. He's been a really good quarterback this postseason, and people are trying to pull a chair out from under him, be like, "Oh, you should do this." I don't know. Point being, Brock Purdy's a great quarterback. Christian McCaffrey's a great running back. Debo and Brandon Ayuk,
Hmm.
Trent Williams, George Kittle. That offense should not be slowed down,
Yeah.
right? I just, it's the Kyle Shanahan, and it really
Hmm.
is.
He's not. He's this is for him is probably his best shot of avenging 28-3. That's
It's
his.
gonna come down to him.
Yeah. Can is he it? Because here's the thing. I'll say that this: if they get a lead, if they're leading by halftime, he's screwed because you know dang well he's gonna blow that thing. He's.
Yeah,
I don't know
maybe.
how. I don't know how. Why he's gonna blow it. So
Yeah, I want to see a consistent game out of Kyle.
yeah.
He's been in this. This is his third Super Bowl that he's gonna
Hmm.
be a part of now. I think.
Yeah.
So
And I feel like it's a
just
do or
be
die year.
calm.
It's do or die for the Niners at this point because you look at their cap situation, they are screwed going into next year and
Yeah,
we'll have to shed some guys.
yeah, yeah. They will. They'll always replenish the talent. I'm not worried about that. I don't think
Yeah.
they're going anywhere as long as they have McCaffrey and they have Kittle and they have like Fred Warner. I think they'll be just fine. Nick Bosa
Yeah.
even. But I just want to see a calm game. If the Niners stay calm, I think they take it. If they
Hmm.
panic and Mahomes starts doing some crazy stuff, Chiefs are gonna win. You know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be whichever team remains calmer because it's a clash of the best team versus the best quarterback. You
Hmm.
know, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a good game. I think it
Yeah.
will because it was the time before the Niners looked like they were gonna wrap it up. They
Hmm.
didn't. So I think the Niners are pissed. I know Debo's pissed.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Nick Bosa is going to be even more pissed.
yeah.
This. So, yeah.
Yep.
But anyway,
They're
we
gonna run out to
appreciate you.
famous by Kanye West.
Yeah.
That's what they're
Yeah.
gonna run out to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
we'll
yeah.
see.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next time. Peace out. And thank you once again to Hayden. So, hope we can do
Yeah.
this again,
Thanks,
man.
Charlie. Thanks for
So, yeah.
having me.
How about them Cowgirls? Oh my god! I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Oh my god! Like I know it's the Packers, but still, bro, it's just hilarious. Oh, okay. Another season where they went 11-6. Dak made a quality case for MVP. Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Zach Martin, Jake Ferguson, and more Pro Bowlers. The defense balling under Dan Quinn until he left for the Commanders job. Your reward is being made a joke on national TV. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing, but I can't help it. You know that Jared. You know that team, the friggin' Packers, have more wins in Jerry World than the Cowboys in the postseason. I should say. Oh, oh, my sides hurt. The best part of this is simple. They're keeping Mike McCarthy. Oh my god, they're so bad, dude. Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh god, it's beautiful.